politeness. And got a long ways to go. You're pretty polite. You're pretty polite.
You're good. You're pretty good at it.
You say it like it's you're saying it's like it's a you're contemplating that I'm polite.
We all have room to improve in that aspect.
You said polite. That's like normal, right?
I was listening to the radio driving home, and
I like the fact that you listen to the radio, but you don't listen to our own shows.
I listen to our shows.
Okay.
Anyway, the person doing the interview, it was a rodeo guy from Oklahoma, and she said that he called her ma'am 7 times in like 3 minutes before they even got on the air. What? And they were talking about politeness. It's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And it's our our manners, I think, on how sir, how we're grown up, how we're raised.
Well, we have a great guest tonight, and to everyone, I'm trying to find a segue into that, but
there is none.
I'm going to work on that as well as my politeness. So we've got a great guest tonight. We're going to talk a lot about brands and building your brand, all the good stuff that she's a rock star about. And you know what? She's got 20 years of being a serial entrepreneur.
Wow.
That's a great thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. Anyways, are you busy? Do you need anything?
No, I'm something? No.
Buttering a bagel?
No.
Peeling an orange? Okay.
Yeah, peeling an orange.
No pizza tonight? No pizza?
Mm-mm.
And then you're eating. Jesus. All right. I did the intro for you. So everyone, we have a great show tonight. Late night restaurant show. It's not a podcast, by the way. If you think it's a podcast, watch something else. Listen to something else. This is not a podcast. And what else, Domenic? I don't know. We're just going to have a great time tonight. We got a lot of people that are going to be watching us on all the channels. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. I had a nap, so I'm not too tired right now.
Wow, that's cool. Good for you, Jay. Happy for you.
Well, I took it. You taught me well, Grasshopper. Anyways, we have a great show tonight, and let's get started. Are you done? Do you need anything else?
I can't do anything.
Do you want me to help you?
No, there's no help in this.
All right, we'll be right back after this. Here we go. There you go. Domenic, I got you signed in there.
Quite the intro there, Jay.
I know. I'm
awesome.
Working on it. Shereen, welcome.
Thank you so much. Happy to be on Not a Podcast this evening.
No, it's not one. Don't even think of it. You're trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't like that.
No. I can't wait. I can't wait to get my swag, my Not a Podcast swag.
You know what? We are launching that on Saturday, I think it is.
As soon as you do, I'll be there.
I'm trying to get it done. I'm a busy guy. So we got to get Dominic's goat shirt up on there. You can buy his goat shirt on there. But anyways, we have a great show. You know what? Thanks again for joining us. As always, tell us a little bit about you before we get started.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved your serial entrepreneur intro there.
Yeah, well, what is that? That's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, sometimes I question what I'm doing and if it's a good idea. Yeah, you know what? I started my first consultancy. I want to say about 20 years ago. And
really?
my background is software engineering. That's actually where my schooling is. And so started a software development shop many years ago. And one of the things that we ended up doing was consulting for a large food service company in Western Canada. I don't know if you've heard of Centennial Foods.
Yep.
And we would do custom software for them. And, through that process, we started to really learn and realize the power of data and storytelling with data. Because what we would do is we'd build software that would shed light on certain things that they'd otherwise not realize. In this particular example, it was waste in the butcher shop. And it was interesting because as soon as we started to measure it, it started to improve. So did that for many years, and then ended up founding another company that we had an exit on. We sold 5 years later, and now I'm on to Akira. It's been a really fun space to be in, both because of AI and because of the storytelling that we're doing, the really unique approach that we're taking with that. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. It's
Domenic.
What's the current company called?
Akira.
And what I guess my first. Sorry,
quiet because Shereen, you're so smart. You might be the smartest person we've had on the show.
I highly doubt that. I really highly doubt that.
I'm going to be quiet, Domenic. This is dangerous for me to even talk.
So, Domenic, to answer your question, you're probably going to ask me what is Akira? What is it? What are we doing?
Kinda, yeah.
No, we'll talk about something else. The weather. Yes, please tell us.
We could talk about the weather. We were talking about the weather earlier. It's crazy hot up here in Canada right now, and everywhere probably. So what we do is reputation management. And so, the simple tagline is we streamline all of your reputation management efforts, and we deliver prescriptive insights specifically for the operators, and then sort of at the brand level, just identifying key themes and really walking them through. I like to call them the pearls and the oysters. Like, what are those little nuggets of information that I think are important and relevant for operators to make improvements, to make changes, to get that 360-degree view of what their guests are saying from a feedback and online reviews perspective. So that's what we're doing at Akira.
Do you help operators take down negative reviews, or do you just help them just make sure they're getting good reviews?
Yeah, you know what? I think anybody that claims they can take down negative reviews is that's a load of BS. I think my approach is, if it's a violation of because for example, let's take Google. They've got policies and things in place that if it's a violation of those, they'll take it down themselves. You don't always necessarily have to intervene. And then if it gets through those cracks, absolutely you can flag it yourself for removal if you don't think it's valid. And then, I think you get one appeal through that process. But, I would say just lean into your reviews. You respond to them. Don't ghost your guests. Respond to everybody, whether good or bad. That's just, for me, the table stakes work of just showing up and being present. And Jay and I had talked about this, I think, when we spoke a few weeks back, that customer experience, really giving a crap, if there's something that's gone wrong or there's an issue, you should desire to want to rectify it, right? And then hopefully improve that customer experience. So I don't think it's about trying to take them down. I think it's about just showing up, responding to them, and then what prescriptive insights can we glean from what our guests are saying. And there's, some companies, you're getting thousands of reviews, and what are they trying to tell you? What information is there? What little nuggets of information can we pick up on out of that feedback? So cool. Yeah.
Very cool. It is, yeah. It's cool.
Here I have a lot of questions on this, and I know I shouldn't talk, but I'm going to try. Is that, Shereen, a lot of companies will have bots on the response on what they're responding back. Is that a good thing to do? Or do they hire someone there that should be responding? Or is there a process? What's the best practice there?
It's a great question. It's a really, really good question, because if in a perfect world, if you could sit there and respond to every review yourself, you read it all and you craft this beautiful response, sure, that would be ideal. But I think that becomes challenging at scale. And this is where, for our platform, specifically Akira, we're dealing with typically multi-brand, multi-unit, right? Multi-concept, multi-unit. And so to do that at scale is difficult. If you're a company that's getting, let's say you get 300-400 reviews in a week, are you going to have a team of people reading through all of those and responding to them? And let's say you did. Let's say you decided to hire a call center of people that can sit there and read and respond to all your reviews. I think it's still going to be challenging to do that analysis, right? You have to have somebody that's kind of got that data analyst or data scientist headspace where they can take all those reviews, read through all of them, figure out what they're trying to communicate. I think that's where AI becomes really powerful. It gives us those. It does that heavy lifting for us. It can analyze sentiment. It can look at a chunk. And some people write essays, right? Some people are sending in a lot of feedback. And it can read through that, and it can quickly identify, mixed sentiment, mixed themes. What are the issues? What are the positives? What are the negatives? And then it can, it distills that down for us. So I think it's a scale problem, Jay. And I don't know, again, in an ideal world, if you can respond to all your stuff individually, great. But I don't think it's realistic for companies at scale.
No, but the technology like yourself is better than what some, like the old days where it was like the automated response.
Yeah.
It's the same thing over and over again.
Exactly. And so we give companies two options, and we see a mixed approach. Some people want to sort of go all out and they enable AI and they let it craft all the responses. And then we have some companies that want to actually, they want to have certain workflow rules, and then based on so for example, if it's a 4 or 5 star review, with or without comments, I want you to cycle between these pre-canned responses. So, I've seen either of those approaches. I've also seen in some cases where some companies will want to build approval into some of those responses. But, what's the lesser of the two evils? Like, someone's posted an online review and then it takes a week to get an approval through. So then a response is posted. It's a difficult one. Like, I'd love to hear what you guys think. If you're a consumer.
You don't ask Domenic. Here we go.
Well, no, I think you're right. If it's an individual restaurant, they should be for sure looking at those every day and responding, right? And learning from them for sure, right? That's that's the big thing. Is there? We talked just the other day about a lot of operators they don't know what they're talking about. That person doesn't know how to eat a sandwich, right? They've never had a good burger, whatever it is. Like you hear all those responses. In our line of work, I've never made anybody sick, right? Like, so, on a large scale, these sorts of tools and services like what you offer are going to help.
Yeah.
Because that tech's going to get smarter and smarter as it learns and it takes more information and the responses are going to be better.
Absolutely. And you can train it on your tone and your voice. That's the whole, that's one of the features.
Really?
Yeah. Depending on how, I use this with blogging. I've got, the software can learn, it can read through what I've written in the past, and it can tailor future posts based on the way that I sound. It's the same with this. And I would say it's especially an issue, Domenic, when you have multiple operators. If you've got franchises and you want to be able to at least have some consistency in how you're responding, because if you leave it to them, I don't know if you've ever just trolled through some of the Google reviews that are left. You can get some really interesting responses from operators, and some of them are cringy. I'm like, oh, I don't know if you want to be saying that. Like you kind of want to have some consistency at least, right?
Yeah.
So that it's on brand. It's what you would expect. And then I would say even more important, there's the data analysis part of it, but I also think if you genuinely care about that customer experience, then you want to rectify something that might have went wrong, and it's just simple things. From someone got home, they had a takeout order, they picked it up, they got home and it was missing something. Like, that's a frustrating thing, right? Or they got the wrong order, or the food, whatever it happened to be, or the service wasn't great. There should be this desire to want to resolve it. And so the challenge with the online platforms and where software like reputation management software like ours helps is we help take that conversation offline. So if the guest leaves a review, we post a response. We don't actually have any of their information. We don't have the ability to contact them. Google kind of keeps all that to themselves for good reason. But what we can do is solicit them to take that conversation offline, and then let's crush it and resolve it. Let's go out of our way to make sure that whatever happened, whatever kind of went wrong with that experience, that we rectify it. And then I think it's totally fair game to solicit the guest to update the review. So in a very authentic way where if you come from the perspective of customer experience is the most important thing and you resolve it, I think it's fair to ask for an update to that. to that review. And so again, that's where we sort of help with that end-to-end workflow.
Big question.
And yeah, go ahead, Jay. Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
I don't know. It might derail your question, but Shereen, is there an opportunity? And maybe you've already said, yeah, we got this planning. This is 2.0. But I read every day about the importance of self-brand, of people shifting to self-brand. Do you help out in not only companies, but do you help out individuals on their reviews and stuff that people talk about people? Because people are so big on building their own brand now.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We haven't to date, again, we're dealing with, multi-brand, multi-unit companies. And that's kind of been what we're helping. And again, for us, it's because it's a scale problem. They just don't have the ability to deal with these reputation management related things at that scale. So I would say not really, Jay, but it's a really interesting thing, isn't it? Like it's become, it's a buzz. I don't know if it's a buzzword, but it's everything. Like Domenic works on his brand every day and checks in on me. but it is important. Like
it is important.
Are working on their self brands, and the self brands in relationship to their company brands is so important. And we see people more or less starting to leverage people like the personal brand to help the business out.
The business,
like it's a reflection of the business is the brand, and we're seeing people. We're seeing more and more people overtake. See, it's what happens. I have a nap, Domenic. Is that you see more and more companies, maybe not so much in North America, but over in Europe, is starting to elevate the personal brand of people, like their employees. And that helps out the reputation of the brand of the company, opposed to the opposite way that we've seen through the 80s and 90s. Was let's build up the brand of the company. And then I was just talking about this. One of the things that I did through COVID is I did a weekly, or felt like a weekly, I think it was like a monthly show with Kraft Heinz. So me and Kraft got on there and we did a show. And one of the goals was I really want to humanize Kraft Heinz. Because in the food service world, Kraft Heinz really wasn't those. It's a great company, great products. We all love them. Yeah. But there isn't a ship out there that goes, "Ooh, I use Kraft Heinz."
Right.
It's reality. Sorry, people. It's the world. But they have great products. So I said to the team over there, I said, "Let's humanize you. You're cool. I love you guys. They got great chefs. They're phenomenal products. Let's try that." So we started elevating their brand, like their personal brands in the show. And all of a sudden, it was awesome. We're making this big, huge company personal and real and human. And I was just thinking that based on.
So that's really interesting. And, it's got to be the era that we're in. We've got all these tools now. Right? Like that where you leverage or elevate a personal brand to sort of help you at the corporate company level.
Yeah, like I think that's where like I look at. And the funny thing is that the personal brand is I think subjective to more criticism in a sense because there's a face to the person.
Yeah.
Right. So we can actually attack the person a little easier than maybe a logo or a brand or right. Like it's a little bit there. That's why I was thinking of the importance of protecting and helping people with reviews or also just positioning their brand to be higher or elevated. To help out the companies is something. There you go. I just helped you out. Your 2.0 company.
You did. Now you're making. I'm sitting here. I'm.
You making notes, Dom? Too.
I'm taking notes. Plotting.
That was my one smart moment.
We're stay in our lane.
Yeah, we'll go back to.
No, that's really interesting. I'm gonna take that back and I'm gonna workshop that a little.
Well, there's a couple people I follow over in Europe. Emil is incredible on LinkedIn, and she started a self-branding company that she helps out more and more companies by building up their people's brands opposed to their brand. And when you think about it, I believe Domenic way more than I believe a company or corporation posting about a product, right?
Yeah.
And that's just the reality. We believe people. People follow people is the line, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. No, that makes a lot of sense. Domenic, were you going to add to that? You had some...
No, I was going to ask. I was going to ask on topic.
Oh God!
What you were talking about when you said you take it offline and you help the franchisor or the multi-unit operator start that conversation directly with the person.
Yeah.
Is your solution helping with that as well? So it starts the conversation, but now is it suggesting to whoever is going to take that, because or is it doing it all automatically? Maybe that's my question. Is somebody from marketing or public relations or from operations in getting involved at that point to craft the response?
Yeah. So again, it's what you want to set it up to do. It can support both. I think if you can do that personalized touch, especially if it's a concern, especially if it's something that went wrong. So I'm okay with automating if it's a positive review and you just want to thank the guest for that review. Absolutely, like automate that. But if it's a concern and you can do it, like you can, you've got the support or the manpower, absolutely craft the response. Maybe we do have the option where you can say you can generate the AI can help you. You see that everywhere now. I feel like whether you're in Gmail or wherever you happen to be, you've got AI trying to help you write everything these days.
Yeah.
So you can certainly do that, but I think craft a response, take the time, send it to the guests, and you can do that all through our software. And again, whether or not you want AI to help you craft that response, we have that built in. And then you try to resolve it, right? And then the hope, Domenic, is that you're getting way more positive or great feedback than you are negative feedback. And so negative feedback that you are getting, take the time to address it and deal with it, and handle it. And then I would say, even kind of ahead of that, we do also work with companies, and we advocate for having a direct feedback channel. So and make it really easy for guests to leave you that feedback. And I was speaking with Chad from Popcorn I think it was about a week ago, and he made a comment, and it's really resonated. I loved it. He was like, it's got to be easier than leaving a review on Google. So, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely. You're right. It has to be super dead simple for somebody to leave you direct feedback so that they're not going into these online in the public realm, right? Of public opinion, leaving a review there. Because what we actually see, Domenic, that's really interesting is if we look at the guests that we invite to take that conversation offline, the numbers about less than 10% actually follow through with that, which is really interesting. It feels to me like a fire and forget. Someone will just post an online review in the moment because it's easy, and then they disappear. And even if you have this genuine, heartfelt desire to resolve the concern, you can't even get the guest to follow up or take that to the next level. So I think it's totally a fair strategy, and it's one we advocate for. Get in front of that feedback. Make, if it's a QR code at the end of a receipt, I don't know, put some, I was at a frozen yogurt place the other day, and they had like an actual wooden cutout glued to the wall that was a QR code that you could scan to leave feedback. So just make it really easy. Have this genuine desire to solicit this feedback, and then leverage a platform like ours if you want to have sort of a unified inbox where everything's in one place and we can help you manage it. And you can leverage as much or as little AI as you want. But I think those are just general good strategies, and people kind of get a bit nervous, like, can I solicit feedback? Sure. Just, as long as you're not going out there and saying, hey, I only want your positive feedback. I don't want to hear anything bad that's going, like, as long as you're not doing that, I think it's totally fair. I
think that I'll try to stay on cue, Domenic. Thanks. Is that I think the more that we talk about for businesses on receiving feedback, first of all, it's not easy because a lot of operators today were really never raised in the era of feedback like we are today. Younger generations, I think, are more equipped to handle it, or also understand what it means by improving the business. But a lot of these older operators, you're not going to tell, Dominic that owns a pizza place for 50 years on how to respond, right? Like it's or how to receive feedback.
Yeah.
I think it's one that we have to create that culture more within the industry that understand that feedback is important, or also creating communities amongst, within cities where people can say, hey, I want feedback from all these other restaurateurs and what you think about my new restaurant, or what I think about my new menu, or come in and help each other out, opposed to competition and stuff like that, right? I think it's important.
Yes. No, I love that. Absolutely. And I think, yeah, it'll be interesting to see as we go. Did somebody put their hand up?
I said this too. You only get 2 good ideas a year.
I feel like you've got a ton of good ideas. But yeah, I think I actually, based on the, again, the feedback that we see and the data that we see, I think people, if they love a brand, they're generally behind it. And I know this because, we get a lot of 4 or 5 star ratings that come in, but the actual sentiment is negative. And I think it's because people don't want to bring down a brand they love, but they want somebody to know that they didn't have a great experience. But
Domenic just did this the other day. Dom, you didn't post something. You told us on the
No,
show
I sent a private message. I didn't post it.
That's good
my review was public,
right?
With honest feedback, like honest. But my negative thoughts about what happened that I typed out was private.
Yeah, and
that's good though.
It's good, and I think if you give people a really easy, genuine channel to give you that feedback, I think they will, right? I don't think they're gonna,
I think industry people might like. I think the keyboard warriors that are out just. In our own business, I've had that. Like, you're not even a customer, but you're leaving us a bad review or whatever it was. You've received your money back, and we let you finish your training. And I did a request back to a customer to say, hey, was this resolved for you? Were you satisfied with what we did for you? To which there was no response, right? But I think the beauty is, are we getting good automated responses right now from AI that gives operators confidence that it's going to reply properly? I think that might be a fear. Last year that might have been a fear, but I think it's getting very smart very fast.
I think last year that would have been a fear. Last year I would have been hesitant. In the early days of Akira, one of the things that we had to get right, and it took, I don't know if you've ever heard of prompt engineering when you're dealing with AI. It's become this whole discipline unto itself. And so getting the prompt engineering right so that when we were analyzing the sentiment, mixed sentiment was being calculated correctly. Because somebody will give you a whole thing about how they loved everything, this and that, but they didn't like that they couldn't get a side order of something, for example. So you want to make sure that when you're analyzing that, you give you attribute the positive, and then you might give so getting that right, a year ago, 2 years ago, it's amazing now. It's like, I'd say like I have 99% confidence in how well it can analyze and score that. And I think the same with the responses. It's come and it just continues to evolve. So it will only get better is my feeling. So I think I'm kind of in the position where, if I was maybe a multi-unit operator, I'd say turn on the AI and just let it do those responses, because I think it's important to not ghost, and you'd be and if you're just on again, I use Google because they dominate, but if you're on Google and you're searching through, there's still a lot of companies that don't respond, or a lot of companies that respond to some feedback and not others, and it's inconsistent. And I think now, these generations, that's kind of, that they're coming in, they're going to go to Google and they're going to look at how companies are addressing reviews, and what the volume looks like, and how do they respond, what's the tone, what's the voice, do they seem like they're genuine, do they care about the resolution? Like those things are going to be important, and they're going to start to matter more and more, I think.
I've got a couple more ideas.
Oh, I love it.
Let me throw my idea out there first.
I want to throw mine. I'll give you half. Can I do half mine?
No, let me give mine. Mine will get thrown out the window. But
I even wrote mine down.
Do you think? Well, that's awesome. Shereen.
Yes, Domenic.
Can we start? Can we train it? Can we train it on? I'm a rebel operator, and I want to tell every customer, "Hey, F off! You're out to lunch.
Yeah.
You don't like."
Yes.
Can it do it?
Can you train the AI to speak like that? Yeah, you can.
Not with vulgar language, but to say, I don't buy it. I don't believe you. You suck. Go somewhere else.
You could. Do I recommend it? No.
No.
But you could.
No. But there's some of these brands that are their vibe. They're not even their vibe. Their persona is that. I'm thinking of the Soup Nazi.
Oh yes.
Like they would just like their whole stick was in the face of the customer.
Yeah.
Our food's awesome. Like, what the hell do you know?
Yeah. You know, I guess it's dependent on the business. I think, Jay, did I tell you about that story about that local patisserie here that I think people were complaining about his mochi? I don't know if you guys ever had mochi. Did I tell you the story? They were complaining about his mochi, and he's the kind of guy that Domenic, go look him up after and read his response.
I'm gonna.
He's just like, you're not eating it correctly. You're not supposed to eat mochi. But he uses vulgar language, and he got so frustrated one day. He actually produced swag that says it's called mochi, and then it was like a swear word. I don't want to say it on the podcast.
And you can pick it up at the Swag Suck store, Domenic.
He went all out. He went all out, and I for me, like, I'm laughing. I think it's on brand.
Did it help his brand? Is what I'm curious.
It's on brand, and I get it. It's him. It's his personality. It makes sense. However, if a Cactus Club did it, so I think it depends on the brand and whether you.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is for people that are looking to deploy an automated solution, it really will reflect what you want it to do.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, you train it so that you're responding in a way that feels right for you, that feels right for your brand. And again, like I said, Domenic, I think it's just showing up, just respond, and then solicit customers. That's table stakes for me at this point, and I'm still shocked at how many companies aren't doing this. How many businesses are?
Well, a lot of them don't know. Like a lot of them don't even have they haven't claimed their thing on their business on Google.
That's right.
Sorry, Jay, go ahead. I'll let you know.
I was going to say, so Shereen, I think that when you think about, I think there's a couple of things here that we have to do also is, I think we need to train people on how to give feedback and receive.
Yeah. Hey,
I can see you having courses on this because I don't think people know how to give feedback or receive feedback.
Yeah.
So I think we need to do that as not just in the industry, but I don't ever see that. I don't ever see people saying, "Hey, I'm going to tell you how to give feedback."
How do we do that? You know what? You're just reminding me. I was reading through some feedback the other day, and I can identify the customers that I feel like that they actually are genuine in there. They want to give feedback in hope that it makes an improvement. Yeah. And then
a lot of people don't know how to. Right?
They don't know how to, and it's what I mean is it's few and far between. More often, I see kind of what Domenic was alluding to. It's just people are just angry. They want to vent at somebody. But that doesn't actually serve to improve this brand that you're kind of giving this feedback to.
Exactly.
So,
well, it's funny. Even just when you do surveys or we get a survey that comes across, and it's it's pretty straightforward. Well, you know what? It's like I read a book once that talked about you build surveys pretty much with the intent of what the survey is going to produce for you. Like you already have it in mind. So that's why surveys sometimes I don't really believe in them, because as you write them, the way you craft the answers or the questions actually already predetermine what that survey is going to do. Right. Yeah. So I think when you look at feedback and providing feedback, if we train people or just have it, like as when, I can see it on social media. I've never seen a post that says, when giving feedback to a restaurant, here's what you do. Yeah. Or when receiving it as an owner or operator, here's how you receive feedback.
Yeah.
And, or do you encourage the culture of feedback in your business? Tell us, and you've seen that sometimes you'll see a restaurant that says, hey, tell us what we're doing right or wrong. We want to know. And the manager's like, hey, I love this. And I've seen some places that do that, and it's really good.
Yeah.
But I don't think we can. I think overall, it's no different than my philosophy is like, who taught us how to buy groceries in a restaurant? No one. Our parents usually did, and the first thing out of their mouth was, "Look for the sale, not the value-added products." Right? It was about where's the cheapest tomatoes.
Yeah.
Not the best ones that are going to have the best yield. Like your parents didn't say that when you were 12 years old in the grocery store.
No, they did not.
Right?
No.
So we didn't really learn that. And then colleges don't do that either today.
No.
Some try, but they don't really do that. So we don't learn how to buy groceries. We learn through trial and error.
Right.
Same thing when we provide feedback. No one really taught us in overall how to, unless you work for a company that does teach that, but it creates a culture. But no one really teaches us how to provide feedback to restaurants.
Any ideas like how, like this? I mean, I can see if
you're the smarter one out of the three.
Domenic, do you have any ideas? I'm thinking through because this is. I mean, you're giving me a lot of the blog post ideas over the next couple of weeks, but it's a really interesting thing that you're highlighting, because if we can get better at delivering that feedback, then wouldn't that, in theory, translate to businesses or operators that can score with that information, right? It's not just
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like if we tell restaurants that, every time we go in there, you burn your toast. But if we complain about it and people usually respond to a negative review in a resistance, like they're not, it's a very resistance response, right?
Yeah.
It's not, okay, well, let's peel it apart and let's look at it and let's dive into it. It's like, no, look at they don't know what they're talking about. And I remember I had a boss once that told me when she started reporting into her, I'll never forget it. She said, "You're just not good." Like the feedback was really rough. And it was like, hey, wait a minute. First response was like, you want to lose your mind. And I don't know. Then it's like, hey, wait a minute. Take a deep breath, learn, listen. Maybe there's more to this. Maybe there is some truth to that. Maybe we have to slow down. Maybe we need to talk about this more. All these things. And it actually helped me out. I'll never forget that moment.
Okay.
And if you think about that within the industry, if we don't train people to tell us what we need to improve on, I think it's going to make less of that responses so harsh. But people, even if it makes a person think once on when they're going to type that message, like Domenic, you didn't put it out in the public, you sent it there. It just gives them that 1 minute to go pause. Let me. What I always say, Domenic, wait that few seconds at a stop sign.
Yeah.
Or at a light, wait 2 seconds at a
red light.
Yeah.
At a red light, when it turns green, you wait 2 seconds.
Then you go.
So many people would have saved their lives if they would have waited 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's where I think the same thing is. How do we train people to provide it and receive it and create a culture so we all can get better?
Yeah. Yeah. I love
part
that.
of it's going to be tech, Jay. Part of it's going to be tech.
Well, I know, but tech can do that.
The restaurants got to, they got to deploy services like Shereen has. But they also got to solicit the feedback and then more importantly, do something with it, right? So when they're soliciting the feedback, that's their chance to educate the consumer on, hey, we really want this. Like, you can be honest, please don't. Like, it might be a simple message just like that. Don't be rude, don't be vulgar, but tell us honestly how we did.
Yes.
You're going to get some people that are going to be honest with you. You're still going to have
You're going to get the odd,
yeah. But you know what? It's starting that road to say, and you know what? I think the people, like you said, Shereen, the people that want to help. They
do. Yeah.
But I think
you got an easy forum for there.
Yeah.
What? I think
if you got an easy. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No.
I'm fired up. No, I was going to say that I think if you can have you get the responses through like those I guess what you're kind of looking for or harvesting for, I think you could do that in a creative way so it isn't very direct but indirect on how you market that content, looking for the responses you are. Meaning, did the meal taste like your mother-in-law's casserole tonight?
Oh, I
and have some fun with the responses so they're not very direct. Like, was your experience as bad as your first date?
Oh, that's one, right? Because who likes their mother-in-law's casserole?
Right? But you know what I'm saying? Like, have it so it's intriguing, it's creative, and it's not so direct, but it's indirect on how you're doing that, right? And I think if we did that, also educate and have some fun, I think it'd be awesome. Like I could totally see, and you could probably do that through AI easily, but I think we have to look at what kind of information we're trying to get, and then also here's in the second part too, how do we train people to give it and get, but also what to do with it after.
Oh, I was just gonna. Right? So it's interesting. You have a lot of amazing ideas, Jay.
It's 5, Dominic. I'm on fire, buddy.
It's almost like if you looked at it from sort of a marketing team perspective, they spend a lot of time and energy on sort of promoting things and putting stuff out. Why not do the same thing for feedback? Like you said, let us think. Like we want to know how was it? Was this as good as your mother-in-law's casserole, which Domenic has pointed out is probably not very good, but that's okay. The idea is sound, but so soliciting that in a fun way that gets people excited and engaged, but then on the other end of it,
it makes you laugh once in a while. Oh, and then the other thing on that too, Shereen, is that when you look at it has to be about, what are you giggling about?
Just like you're going for your 6th idea. Save some for tomorrow.
You fucking derailed me. It's going in for the kill.
And here's the awesome part. You look at the ceiling too, buddy. You kind of look at it.
No, I don't. We always talk about Dominic's eyes hit the roof when a good question's coming across. Anyways, now you made me totally forget. It was a really good one. But I just think the more that we can, I have to, Dom, over to you, because I had it was really good. It was coming in number 6.
Not.
No, it was good, but I was just thinking, like, oh, here it is. So when you think about how, when we're looking for that, we're looking for, the information that we're gathering from this channel or this method.
Yep.
The more that we do things like that, the more that we're authentic.
Yes.
The more that we're authentic, people believe that our interest is in their best interest, not just ours.
That's right.
And I think that's important. So when you do that and you have a marketing campaign that says, hey, this is what we're doing, one of the most brilliant marketing, and I don't even know if they intended to do this, was Walmart. The CEO of Walmart got on TikTok or LinkedIn a few times, and he would go on there and talk about his updates. You made back to that, making a big company authentic and real and humanizing it. He did that by just sitting on his desk talking about his update. Here's what we're working on. Yeah. I think when you think about marketing as we move into this new world of marketing, because AI is influencing a lot of it.
It is.
The more that we're authentic on the content that we're producing, saying, hey, I can see a CEO getting on there going, we're trying to get better than we are today. Here's what I need from you. Boo, 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 boo. And they're putting that out as their marketing.
Yeah.
You're going to feel people going, you're going to get a few, but you're going to get most people going, wow, look at it. This is real.
I think you're bang on. We all
6.
gravitate to that.
Number
right?
6, whatever that is.
We want authenticity, I think. And you actually hit on one thing too, Jay, I don't think you realize, but it's also on the flip side of it is you have all this feedback and it can sometimes be noisy. It's coming from many different channels, many different platforms. And so you want to translate that into sort of accurate and layered insights. You want to be able to go, what are the repeated themes? You want to quantify those. And that's, where I think Domenic AI is really powerful in leveraging platforms to help you with this is you can take all that feedback on aggregate, that 360-degree view, and identify what those repeated themes are. You don't necessarily want to know, if you've had over the last 90 days, let's say 100 pieces of feedback across all these various channels and online review sites. If something was mentioned once, is it worth letting an operator know versus if something was mentioned 30, 40 times, right?
Exactly.
Theme. Those are the things that we couldn't otherwise do without having a human on the other end, analyze everything manually and producing some sort of report. This is where AI helps, right? And I think that for me is sort of the part 2 and the more important part. There's the collect it all, deal with it, respond, empathy, compassion, try to take online conversations offline. But then there's also what can we do with this information? Like how can we make improvements that hopefully translate to happier customers, happier employees, better sales, all that stuff, right? So
I got up number 7. So
Um,
no, I gotta say this. No, don't look at the ceiling yet.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we had Starfish on the show last night. Now, Starfish is an AI integrator into companies, right?
Okay.
And it's spinning out a to-do list of what those operators need to do. I foresee what you do being linked into what the operators are doing as well, right? So it's another layer into the operator. So a lot of that feedback can probably respond, Domenic, into the actions that the restaurants are doing. So meaning your toast is horrible all the time. And then you look on what AI is doing from an operational side going, yeah, it's because you're buying the wrong toast, right? Or you're doing the wrong thing to it.
Exactly.
And I think when you look at, you can even move into a phase 3. And I had a restaurant group on, this might be bizarre, way back a couple of years ago, that they had AI integration into video, where their video was inside the kitchens watching the people, and then you prompted the videos to look for different behavioral shifts, and like they put the money in the pocket instead of in the till.
That's right.
Those things. So you could literally probably put AI into the system as well. So when you get the bad reviews, it's connecting to your operational and your restaurant practice and your video, and then saying, hey, here's your overall what's happening in your restaurant. It's a person. Really.
Yes, and I'm actually investigating, like I'm looking into some partnerships. There's a lot of really great companies in that space that are doing the video surveillance, and then being able to tie that to that guest feedback. I think there's a lot of potential there because Domenic, you alluded to sometimes, a guest might be trying to game the system, or they might be leaving something that's not a genuine experience or review. And if you had a little bit of surveillance or actual kind of, you can back it up, right? And go, actually, that's not what happened or what have you. And I mean, you might not still have that conversation online in the very public realm, but at least when you're taking it offline, you have a little bit more of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So,
and I think that's as operators start to embrace AI and tech, I would say the vast majority still don't know what's coming or what the possibilities are, even right now. Like there's some tremendous possibilities and opportunities to harness this. We have an ongoing sort of theme of people we bring on the show, which is innovation and help for operators. They wouldn't never think to even look for it. A small operator or a large operator, they're relying on the scanning of the receipt or the scanning the QR code. Jay's idea on how to get more engagement. I would enter a draw for $100 or something, or a free meal or free whatever it is. Do you think you get 5%? It's probably not even that high, right?
Yeah, probably.
It's not. Yeah. So if we work harder at getting the feedback initially, and then letting AI do its job, and eventually, I think to your point, it's going to be able to determine what's real.
Yep. I agree, I think what we see from our customers. So it's sort of our anecdotal experience at Akira, but the majority is genuine feedback. It really is. Yeah. Like I think there's this, maybe I don't know if it's a misconception, but there's this idea that there's a ton of trolls leaving inaccurate.
Oh no.
Well, I think that was at the beginning.
Yeah, I think at the beginning, but I think, just Google alone, because I see it constantly flagging and removing things, and then some things kind of, they slip through the cracks and we help with that. But for the most part, it's genuine, I think, feedback. And so being able to kind of do something with it, I think there's enough there, I guess. There's enough there across all the platforms, all the systems. There's enough there to kind of gain that insights. And, one of the things that you guys touched on that I wanted to mention is, when we're talking to operators, we hear words like NPS, right, thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
You know what
that is, Domenic?
No. It stands for Net Promoter Score, and it's sort of a measure of how likely somebody is to promote or be a detractor. So to say positive things and to advocate for your company versus to say negative things and tell people to stay away. And so, you get these numbers that are calculated, but, operators don't know what those mean, and they don't necessarily translate. What does it mean to have an NPS of 30? And is that, hey, that might actually be industry wide. That might be great for restaurants and hospitality versus, retail and what have you. And so one of the things that we do is two things for companies is, I believe what gets measured gets done. I think I said it at the beginning. And so the very first thing that you want to do is you go, well, what's your baseline? As we start to collect this feedback, as we start to aggregate everything into that unified inbox, into the platform, what does our NPS sit at, both at a brand level and at the individual locations? And then we get to sort of measure that as we go. Is that getting better? Is it getting worse? And then we can have a target that we want to align everybody towards, operators, franchises. I think there's power in that. I think there's power in just shedding that light and going, we're sitting at a 20 right now. That's an indifferent. So we have retention, customer retention is at risk. Here's what we need to strive for. We want to get into the 40 to 50 range. That's going to build advocacy. So using that terminology versus just the standard language of NPS, which isn't always translate for people. So aligning everybody, being able to measure that, then we start to see improvement. It's one of these things that everybody just starts to rally around and they go, okay, well then they start to ask the questions, Domenic, on their own. As operators, they'll go, well, how can I solicit more feedback? Like as soon as we do this onboarding and we start to talk about this, then it starts to, and emails come to me and they go, hey, we're getting these questions. What are some ideas or ways we could, and I'm going to give them Jay's idea. Sorry, Jay. I'm going to say, hey, let's do a fun, solicit some feedback. Is this as good as your mother's casserole? But mother-in-law's casserole. But yeah, I think then we start to have those conversations, which, if I go back to what I'm trying to do, my mission here is to spark those conversations, to tell better stories with the data that we're collecting so that you can get these guys. If they're not engaged, I don't feel like I'm doing my job well. If the operators aren't going, hey, what does this mean? What is this telling me? How do I improve this? Oh, I totally get this number. How do I move this needle? Being able to communicate that to them, I think is really important, because the thing that you often don't realize is when you're talking about promoters, detractors, you've got a bunch of people that are neutral. They're sitting on the fence. And if you can just convert them over to promoters, and sometimes it's an easier lift than taking a detractor and switching them over to a promoter. Take all those people sitting on the fence and let's get them over to the other side, whatever we have to do. And that can make a huge difference in your NPS at the end of the day. And I think it all boils down to better NPS, better sales and revenue. The data is out there to support that. Companies that score better on those numbers, that score better from a reputation perspective, they just do better overall.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah.
You're batting 1,000, Jay. Yeah.
I know. That's pretty good. I know.
It is.
I'm blown away.
What's the website? I got to ask, Jay. Is it Akira.com?
Helloakira.com.
Hello, Akira. CJ?
Helloakira.com. I'll say the reason that we did that, Domenic, is because the next release is going to be the ability to talk to Akira and just simply ask her questions. And again, this just comes from the volume of emails I get in a week that's like, hey, Shereen, can you give us a report over the last 70 days of some really unique raving fans that came through? And so I'm going to the AI behind the scenes and asking that question, because for me to read through they're looking for unique experiences. We get a lot of raving fans. It's like one sentence. My server Jay was amazing. He crushed it. Food was great. But then you get some that are like, it was our 20-year anniversary and we had our whole family, and there's a whole story, and those are the ones they want to highlight and celebrate and communicate to the whole company and rally behind. And so this is where AI is amazing. Like it can identify that. And so I'm trying to take myself out as this middleman that they have to query through me, and then we're just going to let them speak to Akira directly into the platform, and they can ask those questions and she'll pump back that data for them.
How did you come up with the name? Is it somebody?
No, not really. My very first, if I go 20 years ago, consulting company was called Black Ninja Software, and we still have it to this day. It's our holding company now. It's the kind of the ninja theme. We wanted to stay in that realm. And then, the team over at Popcorn helped us with the sort of the cherry blossoms and that sort of look and feel that you get on the site, and helped us with that rebrand. And we came up with Akira. Cool. I wanted to be short and sweet. It used to be Black Ninja Feedback. It was just a mouthful, and I wanted it to be easier to say and communicate. And so, yeah, that's the story there.
Nice.
You know what the crazy part is? We had a pet dog named Akira.
Did you? No.
Not joking. I am not joking.
And is it the anime Akira or some other? Just like, how did you come up with the name?
I have no idea. It was my daughter, I think. It was like many years ago.
You have to go ask her. Ask her if it was the anime.
I'll ask tonight. It's I know it's totally off topic once again.
No. But you said a pet dog versus, do you have working dogs, Jay?
Shut up. Trying to get back from milk and goats, eh?
I'm curious. What do you have? Dog sled team out there?
Yeah, we have a dog sled team up here. Yes. Holy cow! I know. I told someone the other day. I really don't live in an igloo. It's not like that up here in Canada.
Why do people think that?
Trust me. It's our Florida boys that we always talk about. Did you know Monty?
Don't 90% of Canadians live within, what is it, 10 or 20 miles of the US?
Apparently, there's more than 2 people in Florida. Domenic told me yesterday when we had a guy. We had Jordan, or was it? Yeah, Jordan on the show.
Yeah.
And he's in Florida. I'm like, hey, do you know Monty? And Domini's like, Jay, there's 20-some million people. And then he goes, I actually do. Anyways. You know what? Awesome program. Thanks so much for spending the time with us tonight.
My pleasure.
And you know what? I love it. I think the more that we uncover this and we put systems in place, we use technology, we lean into, I said this the other day, I did a post that says learn, lean, and leverage to AI. Yeah. And I think that's what we have to do today. We can't resist it. We have a comment coming through here. Hey from San Francisco. Hello.
Yeah.
And but please. What?
Nothing. Jim.
Can you create a system that creates feedback when we have comments coming through on a podcast? Not a podcast.
Not a podcast. Yes,
not a podcast. But no, I think that's the big thing. We have to learn, lean, and leverage AI.
Yeah.
And I have an AI buddy. I have my Hello Al, I call him. And me and Al will talk when I drive to another city or something. I will use Al to build up my plans or my projects. And we have literally a conversation on the road, like he's sitting in the, actually, never mind. I actually put him in the seat beside me. So it's like a person. And I literally have a conversation for an hour and a half on AI, talking about a program. And then he builds it. And then he emails it to me. All done, ready to go. So I think the more that you use those systems like that, it speeds up the process. They're smarter than we are. I hate to tell you.
Well, did you see, Jay? Did you guys watch the Apple Intelligence launch? I think it was about a month or 2 ago.
Yeah.
It's
well, Facebook too with Meta's AI. It's mind blowing.
It's getting more and more intelligent, better and better. It's just going to be.
And Chat GPT 5 is coming out, and they said that's going to blow the socks off of 40 and everything else. And we have the Restaurant Buddy GPTs store, and same thing. You can ask it anything about restaurants and it'll tell you.
Yeah. I mean, within Akira, we're just trying to even just put guardrails so that you can't just ask it anything. Like if you can go into tangents, we want to stay specifically in the realm of reputation management and guest feedback. But yeah, it's getting wild. It's going to be an exciting.
It's fun.
Next 5 years.
I think it's fun. It
is fun. I agree. I'm enjoying solving these problems and seeing this translate for these operators and these brands. It's been a lot of fun for sure.
Jay, one thing I didn't ask Shereen.
Yes.
What's it cost to deploy it? How expensive is it?
Our pricing is fully transparent. It's on our website. So helloakira.com/pricing. There is no additional fees other than what you see there. We just charge per location per month. Fully transparent. It's kind of it's my line in the sand. It's how
it's not enough.
Love it.
I hate when you have to kind of go through, you got to contact. So I don't like, I just want to know up front, like, what does it cost? What are the, and I also I hate the kind of the tiered pricing where, I pay this and I got to add all this other stuff just to kind of get to the full version. No, everything's included. You're
everything for everyone. Awesome.
Everything for everyone, one flat fee, keep it simple. Just because I want simple. I don't want complexity. I don't want to manage complexity. So yeah, we like to keep it simple.
It's good though when it's transparent like that and it offers good value and people can easily see what it's going to cost them.
Exactly. You got it.
Yeah. Well worth it.
And it's so reasonable, Dominic. I would encourage you to go check it out.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you both. You guys have been a pleasure. Jay, it's always fun talking to you.
Thanks, Shereen.
If you ever need a last minute guest, you let me know. I'll jump
Well,
on.
Dominic shows up half the time, so.
Well, do you want to be a co-host? Because that's a tough job.
Hey, I would.
It's a hard
I would
job?
come in.
Did you
If
say
you wanna-
it's a hard
if you
job?
need
Well,
to go-
that's for me. I got to farm it out, Jay. It's up to me. I'll negotiate the fee.
I can be your stand-in, Dominic. Whenever you need.
Thank you so much.
to jump in. You let me know.
I'll make sure to call you every second day. Anyways, thanks so much, Shereen.
Thank you,
And
both.
Shereen,
put you in
thank
the
you.
green
Thanks.
room.
Thank you,
Hopefully
Dominic.
we're-
Nice to meet you. Have a great night.
Hello, Akira. Yeah, cool. Very cool, Jay. Very, very cool.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Very
You know what? When you check the pricing out, Dominic, it even makes it even just that much better. Because it's so reasonable. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't have it.
Mm.
Yeah. You should
What
get
we
it.
didn't ask her is how long does it take to deploy? I wanted to ask her that, but
What,
Is she
you
still
didn't
there?
want well, you didn't want me to throw a number 7?
no.
No? Yeah.
I'm
Never
just
said
asking the questions. I'm not trying to.
That's right.
We'll have to have her back.
Company.
What's the deployment like? Is Shereen still there? Or did she leave?
Shereen,
I'm
Yeah.
still here.
Sorry. One
I
more
bet-
question.
we don't sit
Yeah.
down.
How long does it take? How long does it take to deploy?
It's really quick. Usually we can get it up and running within the week. We just do
Wow.
a quick assessment to figure out sort of where all your silos of feedback are, and then it's just a quick connect to things like Google Business Profile that hopefully you already have it configured. It's just a matter of giving us permissions and saving.
Yeah.
And yeah, from there it's pretty quick.
Very cool.
There you go.
Thanks
All
again.
right.
All right.
All right, thanks
awesome.
again, Shereen.
Okay. Bye again.
Bye. So
Stay
within
out,
a
Dominic.
week, well,
Yeah.
I think the big plus is for people, which a lot of restaurants aren't doing. They're not answering the feedback at
No,
all.
you know what they're doing is they're going. I think they're just closing their eyes and hoping for the best.
Yeah. So if you start answering all of them, like she said, and then taking the the negative ones offline, but people, I know, I forgot
Leveraging
to
the
tell her,
positive one.
people really, when I've seen comments where no, they really answered. Somebody got back to me. It was really good. Like even if if it's AI doing it, but if the answer is good, and then hey, it leads. I get down the road where I want to talk to somebody, still can. That's a massive plus. And restaurants aren't using it and should be, because they're missing an opportunity to either keep the guest engaged because you responded to them and thanked them for their feedback, and or win them over on something you fucked up on. Yeah, they got to do it. And back to everything else we've been saying is they got to deploy tech, they got to deploy AI. They got to deploy innovation in the kitchen and equipment. They got to engage with their staff, and this is going to free them up to work with their employees and make it a better place to work. And that's going to translate to better food, better customer experience. That's my 2 cents, sir.
Better sandwiches.
Yeah.
And better sandwiches.
So better sandwiches, man.
All right. Well, thanks again, Dominic, and to everyone else. I'm out. I gave everything tonight, Dominic.
Yeah, good work, Jay.
Yeah, I tried. I'm trying. Anyways, thanks again to everyone that listened to this. And you know what? We have another show tomorrow night that was recorded yesterday. It's a doozy. You want to listen to that tomorrow night.
The doozy.
And then it's a doozy. Is that like 80?
That's a good word. No,
It's a
good
doozy?
word, Jay.
It's a doozy. It's a doozy. And then we're back next week with Jordan from 7 Shifts. You gonna make that one?
Nice. Yeah.
You're gonna make that one? That's a keeper.
Yeah.
And then we have a chef coming on the 17th as well.
Nice.
He's coming on. We get to talk to a chef.
Yeah.
So, and then you take off.
Cool.
You're in.
Yeah.
You go somewhere.
Going to Toronto.
Go Milky Conference.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great night, everyone.
care, Jay.
Take it easy. Cheers.